Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Jen and I are saying awful things before the stream starts. Not true at all. How's everyone doing today? It's Thursday. We're back with Therapy Thursday. I hope you all are not in need of some therapy.
Yeah.
Not that we won't help you, but I hope that you're not in a situation that would require or...
I mean, you're allowed to say good things in therapy, too.
You know, that's actually true. You know what? I think today is a great day for Therapy Thursday.
It's always a great day.
True. Who we got? We got Mechanized Imposter for 10 months. Hello.
Well, thank you for the sub.
Thank you for the sub. Blood Walrus, Flapjack Nickelsack, Paint Liquor, Oak Wren, General Ginkgo in the impossible to read blue text. Rattlecan, Route, hello. Roadside Ministers, Panic Bomb Arcade, T. Schmidt. What's going on, folks? I hope y'all are having a delightful Thursday.
We just realized that Thanksgiving is 1 week from today, and that's too soon.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Is that your therapy, Paint Liquor? You're not talking about your paint addiction, your paint eating addiction?
I'm not addicted. I can stop eating paint
whenever.
Well, we're nearing the finish line on this model. I think we're in a pretty darn good spot. There's definitely a little bit more work today to do. I restarted the eyes over there because I don't want this guy looking.
They're pretty creepy looking right now. Those eyes.
They certainly are. White. Turns out, white eyes, kind of freaky.
White eyes, super freaky.
So how about we fix those first?
I think that's a good idea.
Just like that, we should do that. No more creepy looking guy.
Right, T. Schmidt? The year has both crawled and flown by. I don't understand it.
I mean, it just occurred to me a couple of days ago when I was having a conversation with Jason. I've almost been here for 2 years.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It does not feel like it's been that long.
Yeah. Route Therapy Thursday is an old thing, we used to call it. Every Thursday was Therapy Thursday, and we used to do a whip review on Thursday. So we had a whip channel, and it's probably still in our Discord, where people would post their works in progress, and we would open it up, put it onto the stream so that everyone could watch it, and Jason would go through, and people would post stuff and have questions about it, like, hey, what can I do to take this up a notch, or what can I do here to make this non-metallic work better? And he would go through all of the submissions there every week and give feedback, and it was therapy, painting therapy. But it always turned into also like, hey, just what do you need to talk about? Yep. But we are not licensed therapists. Jordan and I have not been trained for this. But if you need resources, there are lots out there.
Oh my goodness, that reminds me. Have you ever watched? There's a show on YouTube, like a channel on YouTube.
I have not watched it.
Oh, okay, cool.
I can just tell you because I don't watch a lot of YouTube stuff.
Fair.
So.
I forget what it's called off the top of my head. Chat probably knows. But there is a channel where there's two gentlemen that do like movie reviews, but one of them is a psychiatrist. And the other one is a filmmaker. So they kind of approach the films from a, like, how's it made, but also, like, what are the
analyzing the characters.
Analyzing the characters and stuff, and, like, the psychology of the characters and things like that.
That sounds really interesting.
It's actually really good. Yeah. It's really, yeah. I think you would actually really enjoy it.
Probably. That sounds interesting. But that's funny that it's, like they're giving therapy to the characters.
Kind of. It's not so much that they're to some extent
they're not giving the therapy to the characters because characters aren't there, but they're talking about what they would like, what issues they see.
So like a good example is they did a segment of videos, I think, on the Marvel movies, specifically the Iron Man movies, and they talked about Tony Stark's progression as a character throughout the series, where at the beginning of the series he starts out as this like incredibly narcissistic, like, and it shows like what happened to him and how that sort of thing impacted who he was and who he ended up becoming. and it's a really, really, really interesting watch because
Yeah.
it's also a lot of like you get the film side of it too. So you get the like, oh, this is really interesting filmmaking decisions. These are how some of these things impact.
Interesting.
It's really, really cool.
Very interesting.
They're also well spoken and they're fun to listen to
Yeah.
too. Cinema Therapy, that's what it's called.
Oh,
Paint Liquor.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's great. It's
Seems
really,
like an
really, really
obvious
fun.
name. They tell you right what you're getting. Roadside Miniatures said, I have managed to give myself a huge dose of anxiety. No!
Uh-oh. That's
I'm
bad.
planning and preparing to undertake the daunting task that is learning non-metallic metal. It has become my official 2025 goal.
That's awesome.
Well, that's a really great goal, and you're giving yourself a good amount of time to achieve it, which I think is a perfect way to approach something that you might be feeling a little anxious about. You give yourself lots of time.
Mm-hmm.
Know that it might be a trial and error process. You might have to do it. Like the first time you do it, it might not look great. I the first time I did non-metallic, it was a tiny little lantern, and it worked.
Lanterns are really hard too.
But then I tried to do it again, and it was like, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so you might feel like, oh, I got this, and then you try and do it again, and it doesn't work the same. So just be patient with it. It is a process.
There have been a couple of times during my painting career, quote unquote, where I've definitely had the like, okay, I kind of suck at this thing. This is my time to really just like start doing it all, like focusing on doing that sort of thing. And the first one of them was non-metallic metal, because when I was at Privateer, we only painted true metallic metal, so I never ever painted
wow.
non-metallic metal.
Interesting.
So I felt like it was something that I really was not very good at.
Uh-huh.
So I literally took a year. Like it was after I had left Privateer Press. Like that whole time, everything I painted had non-metallic metal on it, because I was like,
Yeah,
I need
you
to
gotta
figure out how this works.
That's the only way you're gonna get something is to keep practicing it. So yeah.
And I just painted everything like that. I on every model I did. That's why all my MCP stuff is all painted in non-metallic metals, because it was kind of during that time where I was discovering it. And eventually you start to kind of pick it up, and the more that you get to the point where it's like, okay, I understand the core concepts of it, I can make it look convincing. And then you get to the point where you're like, all right, I understand it at a deeper level, and I can make it look really convincing.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that point, you're like, all right, now I'm just figuring out like really nuanced parts of it.
Yeah.
But that whole process is really fun to go through, especially when you're going from like, I've never really done a lot of this, to just like learning a lot about it. My recommendation is do a lot of visual learning. So like whenever you see like a car in the sun,
That's what I was just gonna say.
just always look at that
be
stuff.
paying attention to the real world.
Yeah.
When you're outside.
Take photos.
Yeah, for sure.
I've said it many times. I have tons of reference photos. Hey, how's it going?
Ryan,
Jordan.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you? No, we're on live.
Oh,
Yeah, we're on
We're
our
streaming
live
right
stream
now.
Hey, good to
Hi,
see
Jason.
you.
Hi, Jordan.
How are you? Good morning.
Jason brought a friend.
Brought a friend.
I wasn't going to tell him we were live. I was going to see what he did.
Oh.
He did not disappoint.
Ugh.
2 hours. 2 to 4 p.m.
Let's see here. So yeah, definitely kind of going back to what we were talking about. Take lots of reference photos. I just keep it all on my phone.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm like trying to replicate something where it's something that I've seen before, just pull up the photo and study it. Figure out how the reflections and everything in the light can be applied to the thing that you're painting. And that will always just be really, really good feedback. Like really, really good, like direct.
Jason,
You look
Paint
at something
Liquor
in real
just
life, and then you
Fuze
just
is
replicate
flexing
it.
His abandonment of
on the
chat.
Yes.
Bye. Good to see you.
By flexing my abandonment.
Well, chat, of course, it's being very encouraging as well with Roadside saying, I had to read this because Dork Depot saying, don't sweat it, you'll do great. I've seen how much progress you've made the last couple of months. You will rock non-metallic.
That's awesome.
Oakren, you've got this. Yeah, for sure. Flapjack said, good luck. It's daunting at first, but it's all about how light interacts with shapes and then jumping brighter faster than you would normally. Yeah, it'll feel a little uncomfortable probably. 'Cause
Oh,
you're
totally.
Like, oh, this is too bright, but it's not. Yeah, awesome.
T. Schmidt, I personally feel like MCP models really benefit from non-metallic metal because of the comic book animation origins. That's kind of the reason why I did it, is I felt the same way. Like, it's comic book, whenever you look at a comic book, it's not, they don't have like metallic flake in the printing on the comic book, right? So it's all painted in non-metallic metal, right? So I just kind of use that as, not reference, but as inspiration for giving more of that comic booky feel. Oh yeah.
Ogren, that's awesome. Ogren said I did my first real try of non-metallic on this month's challenge model.
Ooh,
Very
awesome.
excited.
Man, that's tough with just using the monochromatic. Actually,
oh, that's right. This is monochromatic, right?
monochromatic's probably a good month to try it because you're only focusing on the value changes, which is really cool, and you don't have to worry about all the color and all that weirdness.
Flapjack non-metallic started at Gen Con last year and is still going strong.
Nice.
Awesome. Law Dog, the second half of this year was NMM time. It's gotten easier and harder the better I get at it. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Roadside, that is the best book and the one
Yep.
book that I always recommend
I
to
was gonna
everybody.
say, a lot of people I know
Yeah.
use that as a reference.
James Gurney is an excellent artist, and his ability to break down so many different aspects of painting into something that's digestible is like is incredible. And it does cover so much of what is included in color and light and things that you wouldn't even think about, right? There's so many things. And the best part is, and T. Schmidt is right about this, rereading it is really important because when you first start out, you read through it and you're like, cool, I don't really like understand a lot of this, but there's some information that I'm really absorbing from this. And then you give it like a year, and then you go back and you reread the book and you go, whoa, I understand some of this stuff now. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. How can I incorporate some of this stuff into what I want to paint? And then eventually you're like reading through the book, looking for specific things. You're like, okay, cool. There's some really, really nuanced, in-depth, crazy stuff that you can put into this. That's like that you can get out of this book. It's amazing. It truly is an incredible book. If you don't have it already, I recommend everybody pick up a copy.
All right, Source has a question.
Yeah.
When using a wash, wouldn't it be a good idea to turn the model around so as much as possible gathers in the crevices?
You don't need to turn the model around, Source. The brush is going to push the paint into those recesses, right? If you're putting on enough that gravity is causing paint to move, then you should probably apply less. Because the idea is you're applying enough paint that it seeps into the recesses, but not enough paint that gravity is going to pull it out of the recesses, right? Because these recesses are really tiny and small, and gravity is not going to do a lot of work to pull that paint out of there. So I wouldn't worry too much about turning the model. As long as you're applying it in an even coat and you're working the wash in such a way that it's not pooling too much in one area, you're good. So not slap on lots of wash. Got it. You can slap on lots of wash, just make sure it doesn't pool up, right? Move it around the model. Make sure you get a nice even application over all the parts that you're trying to wash.
Soar in the Blood, D Fresh, Fort Pig Bacon, hello. Man.
Hello and welcome.
I don't want to learn non-metallic in fear of turning up like Jason and forgetting how great the Pro Acryl True Metallic paints are. He knows. He uses them once in a while.
Honestly, the nice thing is if you paint a lot of True Metallic metal, and then you go and you learn non-metallic metal, it's just going to make your True Metallic metal painting better, because you're doing the same thing that you're doing in True Metallic metal, but it's more obvious when it's wrong when you're painting in non-metallic metal because it's not shiny. Right, the shine is going to help you even if the light placement is not 100% correct. It also guides you, right? If you have that shine on the model, you can just see where the light is reflecting, and that's where you put the highlights, right? So non-metallic metal, you're putting the light in all the same places, but you don't have the guide of the reflective metallic that's in the paint to help you. So doing non-metallic metal is great for painting true metallic metal.
T-Schmid wants to know if you have a dedicated folder or album for your reference picks.
So that's a great idea. I do not because I'm a heathen. But you guys absolutely should do that because technology is great and it allows you to do that and access your photos a lot easier. I don't do that because I'm silly.
One called Painting Ideas was for some reason it has 0 things in it.
You have a folder on your phone that's painting ideas?
Yeah.
It's got nothing in it.
I must have emptied it. Because I know I use reference photos all the time. Yeah, it's there. Painting Ideas, 0.
Painting ideas, 0.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Jen, what color should I make his eyes? What do you think?
Blue.
Blue? Are we talking like ocean blue?
Like Jason blue.
Okay, so more like a kind of
Like a
gray,
light
blue-green.
Blue, yeah. Gray, light gray blue.
Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. All right. I can make that happen.
Gold eyes? Gold eyes? I don't know. What would that look like?
I'm not painting his eyes metallic, folks. I'm not
the gold,
using rich gold.
That might not be in reference to this. I don't know. I can't tell.
All right. Faded green is a really good color to use for Jason's eyes. Maybe a touch of the dark gray blue. Oh, which is like one of my favorite colors right now. I am using the heck out of this
Which
right
one?
now. Dark gray blue.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's like this is not pants.
One of the OG colors, original.
Yeah, it's
basic colors.
You know, I mentioned this yesterday. You weren't here for this, I don't think. But I was talking about how one of the really wonderful things about our range is that it's so large now that there's a lot of different colors that you tend to kind of rotate through colors that you use a lot.
Yeah, probably.
So I find that I'll pull a random color that I don't use because I need it for a project, and I go, man, this color's awesome. Why don't I use this more? And then I use it on the next like 5 projects.
Yeah.
And then as I keep on painting, I keep on rotating through new things that I use on a regular basis. So it's one of the really cool things about our range.
Yeah. Paint Looker said to give him Terminator eyes.
I'm not making his eyes red. You guys are silly.
Hello, Vector.
Is Gabe moving boxes right now?
Yes, they're moving out all the boxes.
Well, we were talking about it earlier. Gabe's got to feel good about that.
My turn soon.
Oh, yeah, because you still have like a gajillion boxes in your office, right?
I got
2
a lot of
gajillion.
boxes in my office.
I think you probably have twice as many boxes as Gabe has in their office.
Yeah, they just need more space. I'm not using the space in my office, so it's not a big deal. It's just annoying to me, but it's fine. Dark plum is that color for you right now, T. Schmid?
Oh, I love dark plum. I love dark plum. That's probably that, like, so my favorite color is purple, and specifically in the spectrum of purple, more of that, like, I mean, dark plum is pretty close. It's that warm, plummy,
reddish,
purple, a little bit more reddish color.
That's my kind of purple.
Yeah, that is my favorite color.
Yeah.
Period.
Me too.
That's why you see a lot of the stuff that I paint like has a little bit of purple in it, whether it be underpainting or shades or whatever. I just love the color. So I use dark plum all the time. That's one that doesn't ever get rotated out.
Oh, that video with the plates. The Donate the Paint video is a red tablecloth.
Oh, was it?
Oops.
Oops. Okay. Well,
That
that goes on the list.
I ordered other stuff already, like just now before I stream. Like, oh, we got the white one. It's fine.
Oh,
Oh, well.
apparently not. Somebody might have one floating around here. Well, not floating around here, but
No, it's
man, it's amazing how much easier those eyes were than the ones that I painted before.
fine.
These are like symmetrical. I might need to clean up the top lid of the one on stage left or stage right, excuse me. Ooh. But it's looking pretty good. Gotta brighten them up a little bit more. Add the iris right in the middle, or not the iris, the pupil. Excuse me. Oh man, Scrumbly Dumpus would be so disappointed in me, not knowing what
knowing
that
the
thing is
correct-
called.
Correct names, parts of the eye.
Yeah.
So, what does everyone do for Thanksgiving? We're a week away. Are you excited? Are you dreading it? Are you gonna just go with the flow because your family will take care of everything?
I am thinking about maybe doing wings.
Wings?
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. You know,
just for fun.
bird.
It's bird related.
Poultry.
It's poultry related.
You could pretend they're turkey.
Yeah. I just
Little mini turkey drumsticks and wings.
there's part of me that wants to cook a turkey. So one of my favorite things growing up, that my mom would cook when we had extra turkey, because you always have leftover turkey, is we would make turkey enchiladas, and it to this day one of my favorite things to eat.
Yeah.
I love them. They're definitely not like Mexican style enchiladas. They're just like
Yeah.
white family home,
Yeah.
like just so it's literally just like cream cheese, some like Ratel tomato mix or whatever, and like some other stuff, seasoning, and some turkey, and that's it. It's wrapped in a tortilla with some sour cream on top. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's good though. So I might part of me wants to make a turkey so that I can do that at home.
Yeah.
But then the other half of me is like, then I'd have to cut up the turkey.
Yeah. You could get
And-
just a small one, or you could get like a whole chicken and just do like a roasted chicken, because that's a lot smaller than an
Yeah.
entire turkey for yourself.
Yeah.
It's basic concept.
That's true.
No.
That's true.
You like the turkey's a little
I'm also
little
this
gamier
like
than chicken, but
hopeless, like I love the festivity
yeah,
of
I
the
like
turkey.
to cook a Thanksgiving.
Um,
dinner.
and like I've never cooked on Thanksgiving before, so it would be, even though it's like just me, could be fun.
I mean, do you have like, are all your friends already doing things?
Most of them,
People
yeah.
you hang out with already.
Most
have
of- yeah,
family
most
and
of them.
stuff, yeah. Dork Depot's busting out the stretchy pants, as you should.
Stretchy
Getting
pants.
ready for you're getting ready for the big meal.
Oh yeah.
Wild Tomato, just gonna be you and your parents will hopefully be okay. See where the conversations go.
Yeah. That's an interesting one that I'm not looking forward to during the holidays is
Flapjack, been meeting up with friends in the city the past few years, basically since COVID. You're doing it again this year. Awesome, like a Friendsgiving
sounds
kind
like
of thing.
fun.
I love that. Sit through a 2-hour year-end meeting for work the day before. Okay, but we get our bonuses then. Oh, nice. Definitely worth the meeting. I
ooh,
would
very
say.
cool.
Oh, that's what I do. Jason doesn't like turkey, so for the past entire time we've known each other, I've made Cornish game hens instead.
Cornish game. What is a Cornish game hen?
It's just a little.
It's
fowl,
just a
little
small
bird.
fowl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They look like little mini chickens or
Oh,
turkeys.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And they're really good. It's a
Where do you get something like that?
grocery store.
Oh, they just have them at the grocery
In the
store.
frozen, yeah.
Cool.
They'll come in like a 2-pack usually, in like a
Oh, like the
like the
saran wrapped.
styrofoam thing
Yeah.
that they put like ground beef on.
Yeah.
2 of them in like wrapped,
Oh, okay.
frozen.
Cool.
They're like butterball or something. It's
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
very easy to find.
Did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I cook a lot of things other than chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken's my jam.
Costco rotisserie chicken looks like a tiny turkey. That's what I said. I'm like, you could always do just a roast chicken. same concept.
My thing is like
Tastes a little better.
I could do a chicken anytime.
Yeah. I mean, you can do a turkey anytime too. There are no rules.
I suppose I guess
you can get turkeys whenever.
part of me is like, what do you mean you can't get turkeys the rest of the year? Because you never see them in the grocery store,
yeah. I mean,
and they're never
do,
huge.
though. You just don't notice them.
Correct. Yeah. I just never look for turkey.
Trying to get inspired on green veggie side and a dessert to bring.
I mean, I know what
Caramel apple crisp. The easiest thing.
Ooh, caramel apple crisp.
Yeah. I used to do caramel apple pie, but pie is very difficult. So.
What about pie makes pie so difficult? Out of curiosity.
The assembly and the crust.
The crust.
Getting the crust
I guess getting
right
the crust to be without getting too moist.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a baker, so.
Yeah, no, Jason was here for 2 minutes.
Not
and then
even.
He left. He had an appointment with his business group. Fellow business group members came in. Had a little tour.
Said hello very briefly. Ooh, these eyes look really good. Okay, let me see.
Oh yeah, they already look better.
Here, let me see if I can punch in on the other one. Let me switch over really quick. It's a bummer that this side doesn't punch in.
Turkey is just larger, drier, worse chicken. I agree.
Ooh, no,
I don't mind turkey like deli meat turkey, but yeah, the turkey by itself, unless it's made well. Like I make a really good turkey, but then you have so much left over, and the leftover that's where it can get a little dry.
This one?
Yeah, there you go.
This one? Oh, yeah, that's really close.
Oh yeah, they look better.
Yeah, definitely doesn't look surprised.
Yeah, they're scared.
Cool, perfect. I will switch everything back and let you have the thing again. Hiya, solo. Giordano solo.
Chicken ends. You guys paint always without music, even off stream. I mean, Jason, when he paints off, Jason doesn't paint off stream very often anymore. It's been a long time since he's done that, but he'll listen to audiobooks. We've been talking about this a lot recently, actually, because we live really close to Monument. So our drive into work, if there's traffic, is like 10 minutes. But Jason's really into audiobooks, but now his commute is so short that it's difficult to listen to the audiobook because just as something good is about to happen, he gets to work. So we were talking about that the other day because he's switched to now in the car just having it play Spotify.
Yeah. Spotify.
Play music. Yeah. He's been really into music again lately. So you get in the car and it's Bluetooth synced up and it just starts playing his music as soon as he gets in. It's really nice. But I commented on that the other day because he used to enjoy listening to audiobooks in the car. And there would be days when he would like sit in the driveway for a few minutes because he needed to finish a certain part of the book.
That's funny.
But he's been doing music more. But when he paints off stream, he's probably listening to an audiobook.
Yeah.
What about you, Jordan?
So it depends on where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if I'm at home, I'm listening / watching a TV show.
Yeah.
The way that my brain works, if I'm watching or listening to a show that I've already watched before, it will literally just play the show in my brain.
Yeah.
While I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
I also pick things that are good to listen to, so like dramas and things like that don't have a lot of action that's like visual based. Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite to listen to while I paint, just because it's a lot of like talking, and there's some action, but the action is all like pretty similar, so you kind of like know what it's
and so it's all stuff you've seen before.
Usually,
yeah.
I try to avoid watching things or listening to things that I've already watched, because then like I can just zone here.
Right, you can. It's background, really.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what's going on if you wanted to. Yeah.
Yep.
I get that.
But I also really enjoy listening to audiobooks. I am a big audiobook nerd. I'm not currently listening to a lot of audiobooks because I don't Audiobooks are weird for me. I have to be doing something while I'm listening to an audiobook. And when I'm home, I'm usually watching shows or YouTube or whatever. So it has to be something, because like back when I lived in Seattle, I had like an hour and a half commute. So I would just listen to audiobooks while I was driving.
Yeah.
And I was reading books and books and books and books every year. But when my commute is, I walk 4 minutes into the office. Yeah. You don't really consume audiobooks.
Like a walk at lunch, well, you're probably with people, but if you ever were by yourself walking and listening to,
that's when I was actually listening to some audiobooks. Because I earlier this year, or no, it was last year, at the end of last year, I was doing a lot of walking. Yeah. And hopefully that'll kind of come about again now that I'm going out and being a lot more, doing a lot more exercise and stuff. I'm enjoying walking again. So once I start getting into a groove of walking like that again, then I'll pop in my earbuds and audiobook.
Derp6 said, what parts of a mini would be good to use a 00 brush where the Sable size 0 couldn't work? So, I mean, Jordan uses like a Sable 3 and 4 on pretty much everything.
Yes.
Jason too. They're not using the smaller brushes. It truly is going to be one where that's like your personal preference.
I would say if I were to use a smaller brush like that, I wouldn't go all the way to the smallest. I would go with like a 0 maybe, and I would keep it for eyes, and I would keep it for really delicate freehand. Those are kind of the two things where having a really thin line is very helpful. Also doing some like dark lining between two materials can also be really helpful to have a really, really fine, delicate line. And that's, I think, where those brushes really excel.
Yeah, because you got to remember that the smaller the brush, the less paint it's going to hold. So
correct.
You're not going to use a small brush for like your base coats because you're going to have to keep constantly going back to your palette. And,
yeah. You have to paint really fast when you paint like that.
Yeah. If you paint, for example, a Star Wars character, don't you need a Star Wars music to set up your mood for it?
I will tell you, if I'm painting something that's themed like that, I do generally consume media that is, yeah. So when I paint, like when I'm really into painting MCP models, I watch the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
When I'm watching a lot of, or painting Star Wars stuff, I'm totally watching Star Wars. Because for me, a lot of my excitement with a particular project is not necessarily just the model, it's the idea and the concepts around it. So it's like, oh, this is like, I'm painting some stormtroopers, like, so I'm really into the idea of stormtroopers in general. So like having that back on the background, and it's cool because you can also kind of use it as reference to some extent, right? Sure. You're like, oh, cool, I can watch this scene and get an idea of how like weathered some Star Wars stuff should really feel like to exist in that visual space. Not that I do a lot of that, but it is kind of helpful sometimes.
Kruger, do you mean like the perfect result? What's the key, you think, to the perfect paint? Pro Krill.
Well, yeah, just use Pro
Krill. I think you're saying like the perfect result, like the result that you're like it turned out perfect in your opinion. Is it time, mood, and the passion you invest, or is it the knowledge you have plus the gear? Probably all of those.
It's certainly some combination of all of those things. I think if you have the right tools, which are the right paintbrush, the right paints, the right palette, and all of that, you can do a lot with just that. I think for me, the biggest contributor to something that is truly incredible is your passion and drive to finish said piece, right? If you are so into it, and this kind of goes for anything. This isn't just true for miniature painting. I think this applies to life. If you are really, really passionate about something, the results of whatever it is that you're involved in when it comes to that thing that you're passionate about is always just going to be far and away better than anything else that you're going to do. Because that passion drives you to an extent that you would not have otherwise. To go further, to do more, to push yourself.
Well, yeah, because that's what's also going to allow you to stick with it.
Yeah.
And to keep trying, even if you feel like you're messing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Tech Elf.
Hello, Tech Elf. Happy Therapy Thursday.
And Mo, hello.
Oh, we got a Mo in here too. Hello. Gosu 100% getting the spark from the lore is what drives my desire to paint something. Yeah, it's funny for me. It's not even necessarily the lore. It's like the idea of the thing being like finished and what that like. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's when I'm like, ooh, man, I would really love to have like this really nice, beautiful, fully painted version of this like group of models or something. And I'm like, ooh. And it's like the Star Wars thing. So it's like a culmination of all of these things together that I'm like, ooh, this is sweet. I really want to do this.
I think that all of that stuff is so individual,
Oh, it's so.
you know, that it's hard. Like, just be cautious that you're not comparing Jordan's answers to your own.
Yes.
And feeling like Jordan is right because this is what he does for a job. It's the right answer is what's right for you.
Yep. Totally. Totally true. Awesome. Love that. Those eyes looking great. Now I gotta make this lip a little softer. It's pretty pronounced right now. I think if I can knock that back a little bit, we'll be in a much better position. I'm mixing kind of like a gray skin tone here to kind of knock that back a little bit. Maybe that's not the right mixture of colors. You grab some warm colors. Grab a little bit of burgundy here. Get a little bit of that warmth in there. Because when I look at the face right now, the lips are something that really sticks out as being super prominent, and I don't want that to be the case. All right, there we go. That's a good.
If passion is the key, then how do you do painting on something you don't like to paint, but that is what the client wants? Well, if you're a commission painter, that's your job.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at
Money.
it a little bit differently.
Money is the passion.
You know, yeah, money is your passion.
To some extent.
You know, we have 25 people who work here, and while we hope everybody likes their job, I mean, I don't know that everybody here is like lifetime passion to put a cap on a paint bottle. You know, it's like,
yeah.
But they're motivated to do the work because they believe in what we do, and they also like money. So we pay
and
them.
they also like money. Yeah, commission painting and box art painting is. So, first off, it's not something that most people as a recreational painter would ever encounter, right? For the most part, people in the hobby are just going to paint the things that they enjoy and that excite them to paint. So I would say that doing commission painting is something that is outside of the norm, and so wouldn't fall under what I would normally recommend people to think about when they think about painting.
You know, and there's some painters like someone like Jason. I mean, he talked about it as related to motorcycles not too long ago, and his building when he would build his custom motorcycles. And my brother shares that in common with Jason. My brother does that currently, and he's really good at it, and he's been in magazines just like Jason has. And so the two of them have these conversations about how frustrating it is when somebody hires you to build a motorcycle or paint a model, and they give you kind of the guidance on it, and you're like, all right, got it, and you start your work and you're doing something, and then all of a sudden they see something like oh, but that's really cool too. Could you do this instead?
Nope.
And they start changing. And so you have to keep
Ugh.
control over all of that.
Yeah.
They both were at the level where they could say, here's what I'm going to make. If you want it, great. If not, you don't have to buy it from me,
Yeah.
kind of thing. You know, it's like, or don't hire me to build it. You know, but that's not something that everyone is at a level that they can do.
Yeah. I mean, I've
If you're
definitely
just starting out, you might have to take on some jobs that you're not super excited about. Maybe they want something in a color that you don't really like to paint with. But if they hired you to do that, then that's that too.
Yep. And I think a lot of it too is that's only really something that you have to worry about if it's something that you're doing to make a living, right? And if you're not making a living with it, if it's just for fun, don't take projects that you aren't excited about.
Exactly.
If your buddy's like, "Hey, I really want to start this Dark Angel army," and they're like, "Would you paint it for me?" and you're like, "Man, I've always wanted to paint Dark Angels. That sounds great." Do it. Because you'll have a blast doing it. I had this same experience for a while ago. A friend of mine back in Seattle was like, "Hey, I want you to paint this really beautiful Tau army for me. We're going to do it in small segments, but I want it to be really, really high quality." I don't normally paint armies for people. When I did a lot of commission projects back in the day, I would never do armies because I hated feeling like I had that much work.
That's a lot.
At one time. So the only reason that I did it was because he was doing his Tau army exactly how I would have done mine, and I had always wanted to do it that way.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, yeah, I'll totally do this.
Yeah, Pedro said, I guess either don't go for that project if you can, or since it's work and you have the passion to paint, take it as just another painting session. Sometimes we just need to push through it. That's another good way to look at it. Is like, hey, you know what? I don't love this, but I am, you know, using some hobby muscles that might need a little bit of exercise.
Yep.
You know, and it's good to push yourself and practice things that you don't normally do. Get out of the comfort zone a little bit.
I totally agree with that.
T. Schmidt got a shipping notification on a model you forgot you're ordered.
Nice.
That's exciting. Money, reputation, client satisfaction, learning skills are all things you can gain from the commission aspect. Absolutely. Yeah. The learning aspect and the practice, the fact that it gives you practice on someone else's dime. You know, they're buying the model and the supply and you get to practice painting on it. That's a cool way to look at it.
That's always the way that I put it to other people. I was always like, so you're telling me that somebody else is going to pay you to learn
something that you like. Yeah.
That seems pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Like Roadside Miniatures. If I were to say, hey, Roadside, I'm going to pay you to learn how to paint non-metallic.
Yeah.
Although you probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't say it that way.
I wouldn't pay you to do something that you're not as familiar with. So it'd be more like, I want to pay you to get even better at the non-metallic metal you can already do.
Yeah.
Sort of deal. But like, that's a pretty good gig, right?
Flapjack, that is like the perfect way to say it. Clients are both the reason we work and the most annoying part of work as a graphic designer.
Yeah. I feel like graphic design's even worse for that.
T. Fresh has a question or needs an opinion.
Okay.
I'm going to noosh over some warm gold armor, but I can't decide which color. Dark burgundy, dark umber, or mahogany. Dark burgundy was already my main shadow color.
Can you mouse over the question so I can read it really quick? Sometimes it's easier for me to just read. Okay. I'm going to noosh over some warm gold armor. Okay. Cannot decide which color. Dark burgundy, dark umber, or dark mahogany. Dark burgundy was already the main shadow color. I would do I like mahogany here. Here's why. Mahogany has some really, really saturated red warmth to it that will play really well with the dark burgundy that you've already done. But will add the brown that will add more complexity to your gold. If you were to go with more burgundy, it would be a lot more of the same. Dark umber is a little too neutral for what you're doing. I think mahogany is going to be a better fit. Hoosiers hit a year with a sub.
Thank you.
Holy
Hoosiers,
cow.
Thanks for that resub.
Thank you. And welcome to the 1 Year Club. You are officially a liar.
Okay, Kruger. Really interesting to hear the answer if you have one. If there are 2 groups of people rating a miniature you just painted, one of them is giving you 6 of 6, the other one is giving you 2 of 6. How is that going to make you feel? Oh, Pedro has an interesting response. The first mistake is to make you feel anything. It's feedback on your work. So separate that from your personal feelings. I know it's hard, but it's much better if you look at it that way. It's not about you, it's about the work. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
I think this is a really interesting question. So this kind of goes this kind of touches on the concept of how to take feedback constructively, right? And I think the first question is understanding who is giving you this information, right? Because some information is more valuable than others.
Yeah.
If you are getting information from the internet at large, tell them to stuff a sock. Because that information matters not one wink, right? If you are getting information from somebody who is a peer or who is somebody who you value their opinion because their art is really good, then you should listen to their feedback because they usually have something constructive to tell you. Now, if they are giving you a 2 out of 6 and they're not giving you constructive feedback, you shouldn't. Don't ask them questions anymore.
If they can't give you specifics on it,
correct.
Then their opinion is not relevant.
A 2 out of 6 with no constructive feedback doesn't matter. It is their opinion that they're not able to give you actual constructive information to help you change. Then ignore that 2 out of 6. Not saying that 2 out of 6 is wrong, but ignore it because they're not giving you any actual information for you to base an understanding of why the 2 out of 6 exists.
I like Flapjack's answer. If I like the piece, the 6 out of 6 group is right. If I don't, the 2 out of 6 group is right.
I feel like that's a natural.
Really, because you're gonna have your own feelings already going into it. But yeah.
I will tell you that I value when I get feedback on my own work, I value feedback that is not 10 out of 10 more than I value the 10 out of 10s. I appreciate the 10 out of 10s because that means that somebody really enjoyed the work that I've done. But if I am trying to improve and I'm really, really like yearning to grow and to get better, the negative feedback gives me more information that I can actually act on. Whereas a 10 out of 10 doesn't tell me anything other than like it looks awesome.
Panic Bomb makes a great point too, though. Also find out why the 6 out of 6 rated it that way.
Yeah.
Know what they like. Find out what they liked about it.
Yes.
Because again, that's what this all really comes down to is that this is all a matter of opinion, unless it's like a painting competition and you're getting feedback on it. But if it's just general like opinion expressing, just keep in mind that that's what that is. So Kruger's saying, for me, if someone is saying that my work is not good, I will force myself to be better next time. But again, if you don't have direction of what that better means, how does that even benefit you?
Yeah. Now, the scary thing is you don't want to put yourself too far into the camp of I ignore good feedback. Like, make sure that when somebody is acknowledging that they really like something about your work, like they really like your work. If they're giving you a 6 out of 6, they really liked it. So you should appreciate and give them the respect of like appreciating the fact that they really enjoy it. Instead of being like, I don't care about your feedback because you think it's great. Like that's a bad way to handle it, right?
Hey, Derpstick, are you talking about the little plastic covers on the brushes? Don't try and put those back on.
Don't try.
Once you've used your brush, it's not going to go on well, and it's probably going to cause a lot more frustration of trying to get it back on. And damage the brush when you catch a hair on the brush. Yeah, they're only on our brushes for shipping, transporting. Get yourself a brush vault.
Yes, that was going to be what I was going to say. make sure you guys get a brush vault because that is the
Yeah, because if you're
best
using
way.
the tube and it doesn't have the caps
Oh,
on,
you
you have
will
to be
ruin
real
your
careful
brushes.
because it's gonna be
Yeah,
rough.
that's
You put the
bad.
caps back all the time. I mean, you do you, but it's risky because if you catch it, it's gonna bend that hair down, and if
Yep.
you don't see it, then now you've got a big hair just, and then you have to cut it off probably. Game Delay said the problem was someone rating things out of 6. Drop that relationship like it's a nurgling. So Game Delay, in writing, we have what are called the 6 traits. Well, we used to, at least 10 years ago when I taught. We had I was an English teacher, and so when I would grade writing, I used a rubric called the 6 traits of writing rubric, and there were 6 different qualities I was looking for, and each one had a score of 1 through 6, 6 being the top, the highest. So it is a thing. Speaking of feedback, can we add sugar or something to the paint? Ricobies? That is. The taste is making brush looking hard. Like, can we make plum taste like plum? I mean, not if you want the paint to work. But you do you. It's yours.
Don't eat the paint. Don't eat the paint.
Teach me it's the truth. I show my friends what I paint. They all give me high praise. 6 awesome. 6 out of 6 awesome. I show my boss, who's an LGS owner and 20-year painter, and he has actual constructive criticism.
I mean,
and internet trolls say it's crap, so they get ignored, as they should.
The internet trolls,
don't listen
to heck with them.
any of them.
But I mean, the fact that your friends are still enjoying it still has value,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Don't
Sure.
ignore the fact that your friends enjoy your work. Because if somebody likes your work, it means you're doing something right, right? And I think a lot of the time we can get so wound up in what we're doing wrong that we forget to look at the things that we do right. And all of the effort that you've put into learning show up in all the things that you do well. And the things that you do poorly on a paint job are just things that are opportunities for you to learn. So that good feedback, the 6 out of 6s, even though that person doesn't necessarily have the eye to understand the faults within a model, they can still recognize the things that they like about it, right? And that has a lot of value.
Your friends could be lying to not hurt your feelings. I mean, hopefully your friends don't lie to you.
Yeah,
hopefully
that
I mean,
seems
I
like
get,
not.
I get protecting your feelings, but you know, you got that's the tricky part, right? Because your friends could be like, oh, but I don't want their feelings to get hurt, so it looks great, and then you go and enter it into a competition, and it just gets like, you know, you go in thinking, oh, my friend said it looks great. So hopefully they wouldn't do that to you if they're really your friend. But you also have to consider, does the friend paint? Friend doesn't paint,
Yeah.
then seeing your painted work is going to be super impressive.
Yep.
Regardless of what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is just understanding the audience of who you're asking for feedback from, and understanding that feedback will be, you should take different things from the feedback depending on who you're asking it from.
Papa Chicken said, I heard of a study defining the liking gap, which is our perception of how much people like us or our work, is far less than they actually like us. So we think that people like us more than they actually do? Is that...
That sounds sad.
That sounds sad.
That makes me sad.
I'm reading this book, though. It's kind of a dumb book. I don't necessarily recommend it, but the concept is good. Okay. It's called The Stories We Tell Ourselves.
Oh, interesting.
And we all do this, right? Yeah. It's like, you know, you have an interaction with someone and you have your own story of what's happening. Like the book starts out with this family that's on vacation, and the dad gets a call. Like they're sitting on the beach, and the dad's phone rings, and it's his boss, or he gets he gets an email from his boss, and it's like, hey, I need to talk to you as soon as you get back. And so the guy is like, man, what did I do? Am I gonna get fired?
Man, that sucks.
And he's having this whole thing. He's like, oh, I did miss that one thing, and maybe they're mad, and like he's got this whole thing in his head, and I think he even like responds back like, hey, you know, you can tell me now. And I'm like, no, we'll just talk when you get back. And it was something completely
innocuous.
Yeah, that was just like that. I needed to. I do it all the time. I'll put something, after work hours, I'll send someone a message, and I'm like, I specifically say, you don't have to answer this right now. I'm only saying it because I will forget later. So it's we craft these stories in our minds, and that's what, just when Papa Chicken said that, that's what made me think of it.
Yeah,
we think people like us less than they actually do. There you go. That's the stories we tell ourselves. Yeah. This really is Therapy Thursday.
Yeah, it's funny. This is probably the most therapy Thursday that we've had in a while.
We've gotten real deep today.
But that's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have these conversations.
My boss told me that I would immediately spiral. Yeah, and then, so then there's even more to it, which is interesting, is that the mom is like, he's on his phone all the time. Like, we're on vacation. Can't he just put his phone down? And not realizing that he's stressed out because he thinks he might get fired when they get back.
Yeah, he's having a breakdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there. It's a totally super normal.
It's so relatable. Like that's why it's not necessarily a great book, because everybody's like, yeah, duh, yeah, I do that.
Yeah, been there.
Everybody
done that.
does it.
I think there's value in books like that tell us things that we already know, so that we can help frame them in a way that's easy to understand in our brain and think about more often, potentially. Because even if it's something that we know, we don't necessarily always think about it. So it can be nice to have something to bring it to the forefront of our mind.
Many a mother have put some real hot trash masterpieces on the fridge. Some people take that mentality into adulthood, meaning that everything they do is good just because. Is it like the participation trophy thing? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Why? That being said, thinking anytime someone gives you positive feedback on anything they're doing, that is also not helpful. If you only get positive feedback and not any constructive critique, that's also not healthy. Is that what am I reading that right? There's a good book about feedback from Michael Paint Smitty. It's a good book about feedback. It's catered around business and personal life feedback giving, but it's also very helpful for painting. It's called Thanks for the Feedback. It talks about these narratives we tell ourselves, the types of feedback we want, and the types of feedback we get, and how to reconcile when they aren't in alignment. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, because there's definitely, especially now with like social media, I think there's a lot of expectation that anything you put out there is going to get a response.
Yep.
Right? Some people put, like a sad, they had a bad day and they posted on Facebook, and people are going to respond to that. Oh, I'm so sorry, and that's what those people need.
Yep.
When they need it. When I tell people I want to talk with them, I always say, 1, what it's about, 2, whether it's a concern or casual, and 3, how long it should take. That's very, very kind of you, Gabe.
Yeah. That is coming from somebody who understands the concepts that we've been talking about very well.
Listen, we need to talk when you get back. It's nothing bad.
Yeah.
It'll only take about 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's about this thing.
Yeah.
So definitely don't worry about it until you're back.
To worry about it now. But I do, when I tell people things, or when I send people messages after work hours, I say that. I'm like, you don't need to answer this. I even do that with my friends. If I have a question or something, like, hey, this is not urgent. So if you're busy right now, feel free to just leave this on red right now and come back to it later. You know how to panic before meetings. assuming that anyone giving you any positive feedback is just, oh, I gotcha, yeah, that's definitely not healthy. Yeah, if someone says something nice to you. So when I was a teacher, and I know I try not to talk too much about it because I've been out of the classroom for so long, but I used to do this thing the last quarter. So from after spring break until the end of the school year. Now they've had 3 quarters of the year to get to know each other and, kind of learn about what people's likes and interests and stuff are. And in the very last quarter, I would pick a student every day and give everybody a 3x5 little note card and say, okay, I want everyone to write one compliment for this person. And they would all, write their compliment. I would collect them all. They didn't have to put their names on it. And then I would read a few out loud. And it was because, well, for a few reasons. One, it was because when I was in high school, I had a teacher who did that. And it was hugely important to me because I was really, really reserved and very, very quiet, shy, didn't volunteer, never raised my hand, nothing. And to get a stack of 30 index cards where everybody in that room wrote
Had
something nice
to
about
say,
me
yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy because I didn't think any of these people even knew me.
Yeah.
It was hugely important. So anyway, I did that for that reason, but also because it's so hard for people to accept compliments.
Yep.
And they get really uncomfortable. And it's also hard for people to know how to give compliments. And I think that genuine compliments are super important.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really interesting experience. And it's so funny because a teacher that I used to work with a couple weeks ago, she sent me a text message of a picture, a selfie of her and this young woman. And my friend that I used to teach with, she still teaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's she's teaching chemistry. And I looked, and it was one of my former students that I had
10
funny. Years ago, because she was in my class my last year. And my friend who sent me the picture, she said she still has her cards.
No
her
way.
cards.
That's cool.
You want to even more? No way.
Yeah.
I still have mine.
No way. Really?
Yep.
That's cool.
From when I was in school.
That's
I was
cool.
a junior in high school in my psychology class.
What a cool thing.
College students cannot take any type of criticism, Tech Elf. They expect to be praised for doing anything. Yes.
Jen. Yep.
I
that is correct.
believe that. Sorry that you have to deal with that. Sammy's literally cried a little on stream earlier when someone did something nice for her. You don't know what kind of impact it's going to have on someone just to do something nice.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy. It's not always like an organic thing.
Yeah.
But if you ever have the opportunity to do something nice, highly recommend it.
There's a reason partially why I'm so optimistic and happy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because I would rather be a positive force in somebody's life than a negative one.
Yeah.
So if somebody's having a bad day and I roll in and I'm jazzed and I'm having a good time,
Mm-hmm.
my hope is that some of that will leave an impression that will positively affect their day, right? And I care a lot about people. I'm a very empathetic person.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to me that people are doing well and having a good time.
Yeah.
So it's part of the reason why I love doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's part of the reason why I do that.
I'm not a warm person by nature, but yeah, I definitely if an opportunity comes up and it's within my ability to be kind or say something. I see a lot of videos like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that I love these where it's just someone driving around in their car and they're recording out the window people walking down the street, and they just from their car are like, "You look great today."
I love
Like,
those.
That is such a nice color on you, and the person walking by is like, "Well,
Thank you.
thank you," and it's like it's a really cool thing. It makes me. I always want to do it. I never have, but
I think there is something amazing about having somebody who you don't even know
Yep.
come up to you and just say something really
Yeah.
nice. Right?
Because then it's like they have there's
There's no
ulterior motive.
Correct. There's no
you
benefit
know,
to them.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Today's the day to take that action. I
Yeah.
think I will. Most of us, Pepper Chicken said, absolutely right, Baby J. Most of us have an impact on less than 0.01% of people on this planet. It's super important that what little impact we make is a positive.
Totally.
Yep. Oh, Gosu, that's terrible. That's when, you know what? That's when you have to, like, say, have a nice day. Gosu said I had someone flick a cigarette at me the other day when they were driving by. I would have preferred for them to say something nice. Yeah. That's when you say something nice back to them. Even though they didn't start it.
You kill them
Have
with
a good
kindness.
day.
It's like, hey, let me go get that cigarette for you. I'm so sorry that it
Oh, you
fell out
dropped
of your
this.
hand.
Here, let me help you.
Yeah.
But honestly, cigarette is all you needed to say.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Smoking is gross.
Yes, it is.
And yes, that's my opinion, but I
That
think
seems-
it's a shared opinion. Many people share that opinion. And I'm not sorry if you're a smoker. I just called you gross. Cigarette flicking is very 80s film. I had to try really hard to not assume anything said nice to me is being said sarcastically. Well, you're the one, Wad Tomato, who said that you're not supposed to do that. You just a few minutes ago
Yeah.
said that you're not supposed to do that.
There.
So get over that.
I realized a while ago that even though my inclination is to not always, like, my brain doesn't always go to, oh, that was like a genuine thing. Like, I always assume that I don't necessarily have the right understanding of the situation. Like, there's like a, I try to like, I don't know. Let me try and think about how I should articulate this.
Yeah, when someone gives you a compliment, the easiest thing is just to say thanks.
Yeah.
You know, that's been a big thing too. Like my generation, especially, where someone gives you a compliment, you're like, oh no. You're like, oh, your hair looks good today. Oh, I don't really like it. It didn't turn out the way I wanted. All you do is say thank you. I've learned that a lot because like Jason will give me compliments, and you know, I try to just say thank you. Like you don't feel forced to give a compliment back because then it might not be genuine.
Yeah.
Pro tip, just be nice. Yeah.
It's yeah, I think for me, yeah, just like what we said, just try and yeah.
One of the best compliments that I've ever gotten was when I had just started playing Warhammer, and someone I didn't know came up and asked if he could take a picture of one of my minis because he liked the colors and wanted to use it for inspo, and that made my week. Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
It's all a bunch of really fun, innocent stuff where it's just like, man, that was
Paint liquor, don't do that.
cool. Thank you,
do that.
Nicholas.
There you go. See? All
Thank
you.
you.
Say thank you.
That's very kind of you to say. My beard, thanks you very much.
What about vape bros? We like vape bros, right? I mean, we have a few that work here, so I guess it's marginally better, like very marginally.
Marginally better.
I walk around, I'm like, why does it smell like cotton candy?
It's like vape. Vape bro is. They're vape bros in the house.
Smoking is gross. All my smoker friends agree with that. They just haven't been able to stop yet. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a
To
reason for
to be
that.
fair, very few smoker people that I know that smoke would
It's meant,
disagree.
meant to be difficult to.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Pigments, regardless of how they are ingested, are toxic if you smoke them.
Yeah, definitely don't smoke the paint, please.
Oh my gosh, Tech Elf.
What?
That is a feeling that sticks with you. Tech Elf said, "I love teaching," and when a student says "thank you for teaching," it touches my heart. They can also be little turds,
Yeah.
but yes, when they say thank you, it's like
I
beautiful
wish
thing.
that I had a better respect and understanding for teachers when I was younger.
You're like, I think most people probably say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is definitely, I mean, especially now, knowing people like yourself who did a lot of teaching for a long time and understanding the struggles and also having the hindsight of being able to look at my history and go, man, Jordan, you were kind of a pain in the butt child
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things you look back and you're like, man, these people are pretty tough.
And I loved a good project. So when I had those students who were like, yeah, no, I don't like this class. Okay, well, we'll change that. That was my mission. There was 1 year where I had a student who was pretty terrible. He was so smart, but he was just a problem, and it was difficult to the point where like I was calling his mom pretty much every day. I was making him call his mom during class because he was being disruptive. I'm like, call your mom, tell her what you're doing right now.
Dang.
And to the point where then she would be like, don't call me anymore. I'm like, you're his mom. Like, I don't know what else to do. And then yeah, the principal was like, yeah, I don't know what we do. We gotta make it through the last couple weeks here and tough it out. He's the only one that I couldn't.
You couldn't sway.
Yeah, couldn't connect with him at all. A long beard is like a pet. It needs attention and to be petted occasionally if you want it to behave.
My beard is weirdly self-reliant. It kind of just does what it does without much effort on my part.
That's lucky.
I am incredibly lucky in that regard.
Avian, hello. Paint liquor, you were borderline teacher's pet. Nothing wrong with that.
I am sure that that's a positive thing for most.
Listen, teachers, like teachers, we don't have favorites. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Big fat lie. We absolutely do. Avian wants to know if you're the baby of your family.
Me?
Yeah.
I am an only child.
Oh.
I think this is part of the reason why I have such a strong relationship with my buddy Hayden, who I've mentioned here many times, is because I think I always wanted a brother or sister.
Yeah.
Because I never had one, and it was always a bummer for me when I was just like, oh man, I'm just like kind of an only child. My parents are kind of boring. They don't really have a lot of like super exciting things that they were like sharing with me. My dad a little bit. My mom was just like, not really. But like, you find these relationships with like really, really, really good friends, and you foster this relationship over 20 years. Mm-hmm. Like, he is my brother. Yeah. For all intents and purposes. Yeah. I treat him the same way that I would a blood relative, and in some ways probably better. Mm-hmm. to be honest.
Yeah. Sometimes your chosen family is, gets the love. Grimdark Ozark just got a set of our sable brushes. Awesome. So excited for them. Did you hear about Squidmar's issues with shipping his sable brushes to the U.S.? I heard something in passing kind of about that, but I mean, it's Sable, so.
I watched the video.
What are you going to do?
They just got to get their stuff sorted out. Seems like.
Slapjack, you were a terrible student. Now it was probably undiagnosed ADHD. I would never do homework and got in trouble all the time for it. So I always
I was definitely one of
assumed
those.
that students who had behavior issues in class or whatever were bored, and would try and give them different interesting things. Well, I also tried to, whenever possible, gave students options on how they could demonstrate how they've learned something.
Yeah.
Because not everybody works in the same way.
Yeah.
So that helped. And then my favorite thing would be like if there was a kid who was acting out or whatever, I would find, like, I would say something to acknowledge the good things that every student around that kid was doing.
Except for them.
Rather than, rather than saying, hey, stop talking, I would say, stop talking, Jordan. I would say, oh, Jason, Philip, I really appreciate how quietly you're working right now and how focused you are.
And then the one
because
other
the
one goes,
who's
"Oh."
acting out, they want to hear their name said out
yeah.
loud, and to not give them that, and to instead then focus on the kids who were doing what was right, was so much more effective.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I was definitely one of those kids that I paid attention in class. That was never my issue. I would never do homework because I had a hard time.
Yeah,
Like
the
once I
homework
was
thing,
outside
I
of
get
the
why people don't
Yeah.
do. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I actually ran into a lot of issues with that in my senior year.
Yeah.
Which ended up resulting in me having to do a lot of homework at the end of the year for many different classes.
Yeah, I got to make up all that work.
Yeah. My test scores were always really good. That was never the problem. Homework was an issue for me.
I literally do not believe that Jordan was not a good kid.
I was a good kid. Like in the ways that you would consider somebody to be a good kid, I was a good kid.
Yeah.
I was definitely mouthy to my parents when I was younger, for sure. I was, I was just an annoying little brat. But I mean, that's like not uncommon for stupid teenagers who don't understand why you should be doing the things that they're telling you to do.
Avian, tell you that I said what with sarcasm? Because maybe I did, but maybe I was. I don't know. I don't remember what I said.
Baby KJ, you just described everyone. I don't know. I was the only person in my class that had that same problem.
You haven't heard anything about premium brands struggling to get Kolinsky Sable imported? I wonder if it's because they bring them in bulk and drop ship with the U.S. I mean, we have Sable brushes, but we just have the permission to sell them.
Yeah.
Like we did it properly.
We followed the rules and guidelines that allowed us to sell
There
that
are
product in the
rules
United States.
for stuff, and we follow the rules as much as we got in trouble a lot in elementary school because you would get bored after finishing the worksheet or whatever that you had first, and just having to see, that's the thing, is that you have to provide things for the kids who finish early because they're smart and they need more to do.
Yeah.
When I'm steering my students back to the lesson when dealing with those acting out, you think I was sarcastic when I said that I focused on the good kids rather than the kid who was acting out? I was not. I was 100% serious. It was the most listen, I can probably count on one hand the number of kids that I ever had to send to the office because they just knew what I expected and they did it. No, so like if Jordan were talking and he were sitting at a table with Philip and Jason and they were working quietly, I would compliment Philip and Jason and not mention Jordan in any way. Because I know Jordan wants me to give him attention for his behavior.
It's so weird for you.
So I don't do that. Because then Jordan be like, oh, I better do my work, and then maybe she'll say something nice about me. Say something about me in general. Tech Elf said, since I've been teaching for decades in college and high schools, chat needs to know that grade school teachers is a special kind of person. That's true. I mean, all teachers are special. And that's the thing too, is no matter what grade you say you teach, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, you're an angel, or you're a saint.
Teaching's a rough gig.
Ron Reese, you were a great kid because you learned from your older siblings' screw ups. Yes. Sadly, that means I missed out on many stupid but important adventures. But yeah, that you didn't get in trouble. That's good. Finish worksheets early and then just chill out and read. And those are the dream students, the ones that can entertain themselves, fill their own time. Jade, hello. How goes the baking, Jade?
Ooh, the baking.
You only got paddled once in middle school, iterator. Good.
I remember my parents tried to do that to me once, and I was like, you dang well better not even think about that. I was like, you will not like what happens if you start hitting me with stuff.
When I taught elementary school, I did have, I think there were like 2 parents, and I only taught elementary school for 3 years. And in that time, I think I had I for sure had 1, but I think there were 2 where they're like, you can spank my kid if they're acting crazy. And I'm like, I really can't though.
Yeah, like that.
I appreciate
that is not a thing.
The statement, but no, I'm not going to do that.
When did that become a thing that people were like, let's really not do this anymore?
Let's not spank kids anymore?
Yeah.
Praising the ones acting nicely, you ended up with a carrot instead of a stick. Positive reinforcement. Yes, exactly right. Yep. The early 80s, you got paddled. More baking this weekend. Thumbprint cookies. Delish. Are those the ones with the Hershey's Kiss on them? Teaching is crazy underappreciated between the few but very vocal parents demonizing them and budget cuts for supplies and general lack of appreciation. I don't know how they do it every year. I don't do it anymore. I got slapped in class for yelling in the teacher's ear. The slap was louder. Yikes.
Oh my gosh.
What happened to that teacher? Spank your brushes when they stop being pointy. Oh, okay. So they're the ones with they do have a little divot though, and then they're filled with like jam. Yum. Little stained glass windows. Oh, so they're the ones with the the hole in the middle and that you fill in. Fancy.
Jade, you can cook snacks for us anytime. We will never say no. We will always appreciate the wonderful things. You know they're coming to visit, right?
In February.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're coming for a work thing, but a visit will be, or a bike thing.
I mean, they're renting bikes while they're here, is all I know.
Is it because of Chuck's work, or some training thing that you guys are coming, or is it for a bike thing?
Hope you guys enjoy the Arizona land. Pure vacation.
Just vacation.
That's awesome.
Oh, awesome. I, for some reason, thought there was a very specific reason. Read somewhere that one of the biggest surprises after the expansion of X-rays was the number of bone fractures in kids. I suspect that was the beginning of the end of physics. First time I heard slap chop, I figured it was some sort of miniature abuse.
I mean, to some extent, it kind of is.
Oh, Forever After said I had a fourth grade teacher who would grab misbehaving kids by the ear. His
Ooh.
last name was Lawless. Seemed fitting. This was in the 70s, though, when the world was different. It sure was.
It sure was.
My experience as a child in school was vastly different from the experience of my students.
One of the things I'm incorporating now that I've glued on this robot is I'm starting to do a lot of color filters over parts of the metal to darken them or brighten them to make it kind of feel a lot more like it's a part of the scene. So you'll notice I put a lot more green in this vicinity here, the reflections from the ground, things like that.
What kind of stuff is there around Monument HQ so I convince the non-hobby spouse for a trip? I mean, Phoenix is a cool place to vacation.
Place.
There's tons of restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Food here is very good.
If you guys golf, it's a good golf place. There's good shopping. We're in an area where there's lots of museums.
There's some like cool art stuff down in downtown too, right?
Yeah, there's a street where they do like First Fridays and stuff that has lots of art galleries. There's also Scottsdale, which is tons of, it's very touristy. Yeah, there's a big hole in the ground 5 hours away. There's lots to do here.
A big hole in the ground.
But in the immediate vicinity, there's definitely stuff to do.
Oh, that's awesome. A big hole in the ground. I still I've yet to see that.
The Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it since I was like 9. And oh no, I was in 7th grade. So 11 or 12.
That's a little while ago.
Still a long time. Big hole in the ground. I'm intrigued.
I mean, if you saw it, you'd probably agree.
There's actually more than one. Because there's the Grand Canyon, and then we have like a meteor crater. A big hole in the ground. Not as big. Last time you went, it was foggy. Paint like fire. Lived in Red Rock for a few years, Tucson for a few before that, and Phoenix is great for a 1 to 2 day trip with the family. Ocean count as a big hole in the ground?
Nope.
Probably.
Oh, I don't know. Jury's out on that one for me.
I mean, technically it's just filled in with water, but it technically is a big hole.
Yeah, I guess.
You took the water out.
It is a...
There are parts of the ocean that are like, what, hundreds of miles deep?
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
not hundreds. I don't know.
yes, parts of it probably would be.
Yeah.
But I think like as a whole, it would just look like the Earth, but just taller mountains, right?
Fun fact, my mom thought my dad fell into the Grand Canyon when they were there on vacation.
He didn't. That's good to hear.
Oh yeah, maybe the ocean's a big puddle. The only reason to go is for the monument tasting tour. We don't give out tasting samples because we don't eat the paint here. You're certainly not coming here for the pie restaurants because there are not any around here.
There are apparently random cheesecake vendors that are very good, though.
I don't know.
I don't get the deal with that, but apparently.
But yeah, T. Schmidt, what does your wife enjoy doing? if she's got specific interests, I can definitely tell you what would
Oh.
be accommodating around here.
Spring training? I don't know if your wife is into
Spring
sports.
training, yeah. If you like
That's a
baseball,
big
spring
one.
training is super fun. That's a real big thing around here. 6.8 miles deep. That's much less than I thought. What, the ocean? I said hundreds. No tastings, that's it. Vacation canceled. I mean, we'll taste cookies if you want to bring them, but we're not going to give you paint to taste in return. You're personally 100% coming for the pie? Oh, you might be disappointed, Chuck. The pie place closed.
You guys can also probably make pie that's better than the pies that you can get regularly here, probably.
Got Nick Pie had pies delivered to us. Coco's. That were so good. And then Coco's closed.
and then they closed.
Her ideal vacations are comfy relaxation and reading. Oh my gosh. Spas everywhere. There are amazing resorts here that have spas that she would love. And pools. She can hang out by the pool. We've got some resorts that have like a lazy river where you can float in an inner tube.
That's actually hilarious that exists.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Derpstick just ordered the DA2, DA1, and a 00. Smaller brush will probably help with eyes. Feels even with the Sable 0. I still put too much paint into lenses and eyes. Yeah, the Sables, when you get small, they're not that great. Spa, yes. Pool, not so much. I'm with you. Public pools are not my jam. Thought witches melted when they got wet. Maybe that's why she doesn't want to go in the pool. To the Castles and Coasters arcade for an entire day. You're a pinball fiend. It's still there, but they just tore down the mall this week. So, Ron Reese, if you remember Metro Center Mall, gone. Turning it into apartments, condos. But the janky roller coaster is still there.
The janky roller coaster.
$335.
Oh my gosh, really?
That's crazy.
Heck. Do we have like a time dilation device in here or something? Because I don't get how it's always time to go.
One of your malls became part of the hospital system. That's interesting. A lot of space. There was a big thing going around the internet, specifically here, when the mall that I grew up going to, was being torn down, and people were suggesting that we turn it into like a Gen X retirement home. And I love that idea.
A Gen X retirement home.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Spent so much time at the mall as kids. Why not retire there? Feels like home.
That's still a thing that kids do? Do they still go to the mall and go to the movies and stuff?
I think so. I mean, we do still have malls here.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the last time I went to the mall. It hasn't been too long. I may have gone. Oh no, I just went to Tempe Market before we went to Germany. Now the thing is like the outdoor malls, where it's just a big outdoor shopping center.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they
That's
do
a
it
lot
now.
more common nowadays.
But we do still have. I mean, the Scottsdale Mall is super nice. Fashion Square Mall is really, really nice.
I have been there.
And yeah, there are still people that go there and walk around and hang out. Kind of sad that malls are going out of business all over the place. Yeah, not quite half the stalls are vacant at the one in our capital. All I want out of my retirement home experience is for game night to be D&D. The huge one with a small aquarium. I don't think Metro Center had the ice skating rink in the middle. The aquarium, I think, is Arizona Mills. A lot of outdoor malls now. Super smart in the Chicago burbs. Great in the winter. Yeah, that's like us here. I'm like, who wants to go to that in the summertime? That's why you go to the mall, is so you can do all your shopping without having to walk outside.
Yep.
Why do I want to have to go outside every time I need to go to a different store? That sounds terrible.
I do miss the outlet malls that were very prevalent in Seattle.
Oh, we have outlet malls.
Do we?
Yeah, there's a really nice one south. Like if you take the I-10 south,
Mm-hmm.
it's not too far. I mean, it's from here. It's probably near 30 minutes. Probably 30-minute drive.
Is it down in like Tempe, Mesa,
No, it's
Gilbert?
it's technically it's Maricopa.
Oh, okay.
So it's further southwest than Tempe.
Oh, okay. So
So
it's like
it's
on the
further
other
south.
side,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, there's a casino there, a really nice hotel with the casino, and then a big outlet
They-
center.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds like very familiar to all the other
Yeah, with all the
outlet malls that I've ever
standard,
been
they've
to.
got the stand. I mean, it's so crazy to me that you go to these outlet malls or drive by them and see them on the freeway, and they have like a Tommy Hilfiger store.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're like,
why
what?
do they all have a Tommy Hilfiger store?
I don't know. But they all do.
They all do.
Because all the ones I've ever been to have had one.
Every single one has a Tommy Hilfiger store.
They all have a Nike.
Yeah, they all have Nike. Yep.
Um,
They have Adidas there. Jason and I would go get shoes there. And mall culture is fading quick. We use them as big tax sink in the 90s on a backpack. Oh, but back to Papa Chicken's retirement home experience, wanting game night to be D&D. I mean, I think by the time you're in a retirement community, that will be common. My friend's dad lived in one, and it was amazing. Like, I wanted to move in then when he lived there. Like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
my
I wanna
mom
live
lives
here
in a
now.
my mom lives in a 55 plus.
Yeah.
And she and my stepdad really enjoy it.
Is it like a building, like a condo?
No, it's like
building?
a
Or a
complex.
community?
It's a community.
Community
yeah.
with like
Yeah,
individual
town-
houses.
houses
Yeah,
and stuff.
those are
yeah.
cool too. This was a more like a condo, where
Oh
it's-
yeah.
they had like a community room and a big cafeteria, and they had a game room and a library, and like you walk in and there's a baby grand piano in the lobby, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, my mom always makes jokes about all the funny shindigs that she goes to and
Yeah,
plans and stuff. It's so silly to me, but it's very much my mom.
planned activities.
Planned
nice.
activities,
So
yeah.
nice. You don't have to think about it. Up,
Mm-hmm.
do the thing, and
This is shaping up pretty darn good. I am happy with how this is coming along. Hmm. Wonder if you guys are able to capture any of this subtlety that I'm glazing on to the armor. It's killing a lot of that blue feeling. It's starting to pull it back towards that kind of like greenish color, but it's keeping all the paintwork that we've done to get all the reflections. And the nice thing is, as I'm dulling down this color, I can go back through and I can add more brightness to it to make it really pop, because we've started to dull down that color a little bit more. What, a lot of those old malls are getting turned into housing. It's like one of the more common things to repurpose them as. Although that's got to be such a crazy undertaking.
Yeah.
Can
Well,
you
I mean,
imagine
it
converting
sucks
them
though
all?
because like the big one that has the roller coaster that I was just talking about earlier that they're started tearing down this week.
Mm-hmm.
They are using the space for housing, but they're not using existing structure. Like
Oh, so they're tearing the
still
whole
just,
thing
they're tearing
down.
it down and then
Oh.
rebuilding. So that kind of sucks because yeah. Oh, the new outdoor malls. FLGS is in a mall, Sarah Street. They have loads of game tables. That's awesome.
The first Games Workshop that I ever went to was in a mall.
Yeah, the one that we had here was the one that I don't know. I don't think it's still there, but Jason, it was one of his accounts.
Yeah, I think they largely started moving them out of malls because they started to get too expensive, I think.
Oh,
Um, there's one that I can think of. I used to spend a lot of time back in Seattle that is still like in an outdoor strip mall kind of deal. Um, that has like a movie theater and everything, so it still is like what I would consider to be a mall, because I feel like a movie theater is like a requirement for it to be considered a mall.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like a strip mall. But yeah, the place has been there for a long time. They moved it, but it's still there.
Jack, one of your clients builds prefab housing in Phoenix or near Phoenix. A couple of projects going. It's crazy how much development is still happening in the Phoenix area.
Yeah. It's a popular place. It
Crazy
seems like
to see, like on 7th Street, Thomas and McDowell. They've built a ton of apartments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like boom.
I have not
It's
been down there
crazy.
very often. So you guys might notice that I'm putting this weird color on the front of the face here. The idea is that the light's reflecting off of the skin, and that light is reflecting light that's tinted with the skin color onto the face of the robot. So trying to incorporate that color to the little bit of reflection that we're getting here. Because this area is in shadow. The light is coming from behind the robot. So I'm trying to make it feel like you can still see and the face is illuminated, but the illumination is with that kind of like skin tone-y type color. Oh yeah, I'm very happy that these eyes don't look super excited anymore. That was a nice big change
Yeah.
from before. They feel a lot more normal. Oh, hi, Gabe.
Hello.
Say hello to chat while you're here.
Hi.
They can't hear you.
Using the side door.
I had to bring in the last color.
Oh. Oh. Do. You guys will see some cool stuff tomorrow, maybe.
Hi, Jabe.
Bye, Jabe.
Michael Payne's me. He said, I heard him. He said hi. We did, yeah. We're beyond 5,000, I think.
Yeah, last time I checked, it
I
was
checked, but-
5,037 was what the last count was that I checked. $5,037. Probably more than that now.
Looks like 50-45 right now. Oh,
50-45. Nice. That's a good amount.
might be planning a little fun something. Celebrate that. Have we talked about it at all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. You guys know that.
Chat knows. Chat knows. Jason's not very good at hiding things.
No, he's not a good secret.
He's not a good secret
He gets
keeper.
very excited, likes to share his excitement.
No. But it's okay.
That's why it's good that he's not.
He would be excited about other stuff.
Yeah, he also, I think, it's because of that. That's probably why he didn't want it while he wasn't here.
Oh,
'Cause He's
100%.
excited to show
100%.
it.
I would never take that away from
Yeah.
Jason. Because I know that would hurt him. He would be genuinely sad about it. I think that happened once. It happened once with the new color of the wizard's butt. And I could tell that he was
yeah.
sad. And I was like, all right, never doing that again. Sorry, chat. Much love.
Yeah.
But you will not see new things from me unless they are with Jason at the same time.
Papa Chicken, you're not good at keeping secrets, neither is your wife. Before you had kids, you always gave your Christmas presents to each other way early. Yeah, so that's Jason.
That is Jason.
He, like, oh, your Christmas present came. Like, cool. Like, nope, I want it at Christmas. It's like, are you sure you don't want it now? Nope, I want it at Christmas. Next day, how about now? You want it now? He likes to see people be excited.
He
See
does.
their happiness. We'll allow him that.
It turns out that Jason guy is a pretty good guy.
He's an alright guy most of the time.
Most of the time. I didn't say it. Jen said it. My hands are off that one. I'm
He
putting
would
my
say
hands
it
up.
too. Let's be real. He would say it too.
Funny. Oh. This is coming together.
Are you calling it done?
No, it's not quite there
You
yet.
said it was going to be done today.
No, tomorrow was my plan. I was planning on having it done by the end of the week.
Yeah, but then before we started today, I thought you said that it was going to be done today. No, changed your mind.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
That was definitely not my
Then
intention.
you said, oh, I might actually finish this today.
Oh, well, that's
I was gonna
definitely wrong.
finish it tomorrow. And I said, oh, you're finish it early.
No, I am not that cool. No, it needs another day. I was planning on having it done by Friday, but I didn't get a chance to paint it yesterday because I was producing yesterday.
Oh.
So it will likely not get done by
Paint
tomorrow.
Liquor said you got to do the blood effects.
I mean, it would tell an interesting story. That's for sure. It would be a really weird addition to this. That would be very bizarre. I'd have to funny enough, I'm not really opposed to the idea, but I have to figure out how I would sell it. Cause I would have to it would have to make sense.
Blood, yeah, like where would blood be?
I think it's an interesting idea to potentially have the robot with bloody hands kneeling in a puddle of blood and having it seep into the sand. But I have to conceptualize what that story is.
Yeah.
And it could say some meta thing about, I don't know, robots and AI or weird stuff. I don't know.
Gotta have the marshmallow. I agree.
It would become some very artsy fartsy sort of thing.
Prometheus looks kind of zooted. That means
Zooted?
I don't know what zooted means.
Does he look high?
Oh, is that what zooted means?
I think so.
I mean, he does look a little. See it in his eyes. What's wrong with that?
I can see it in his eyes.
Blood would have made the more surprised eyes make sense. Just a little bit.
You know, it's funny.
It is. What is it about it that makes? Because they're not like bloodshot, but they're just heavy looking.
Yeah, it went
eyes are
from
a
being
little
very
heavy
surprised to being
Just being a little
this guy's
relaxed.
got some stuff that he's dealing with. his soul is deepened and
Looks
darkened.
thoughtful. Or high.
Yeah. Or high.
Look at it. He's so toasted he thinks there's a robot in front of him. Oh my god, I love that story.
He's so toasted he thinks there's a robot in front
The
of him.
robot's not really there.
Man, I could make the blood effects look really cool with the robot.
His face now looks like he's saying, see what I have to put up with, chat? It totally does.
Okay.
That's
Chat,
awesome.
I'm gonna consider this between tonight and tomorrow whether or not I put blood all over this thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of keen.
It is a cool concept.
But part of
to
me
have
is
the
kind of
robot
keen to
be
do it.
like- And him being like, oh, what are we going to do now?
Yeah,
Like they're figuring it out together.
Yeah. It's like,
It's like, what do you do with the dead hooker in the bathtub?
because there's something that could because I mean this model is it's Prometheus AI is the name of the original model. Or AI something like that. It would be interesting if I feel so weird saying this because it feels so artsy fartsy garbage to me, But it could be a really interesting take on like the idea of AI becoming like too much
deep.
and
Yeah.
too out of control.
Very conceptual.
And yeah, very.
I like
See,
it.
so I'm like, it feels weird to say because I don't normally think that way.
Well, but you know what? Something new.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Okay,
concept.
I'm kind of I'm above 50% on wanting to do it now.
Yeah.
I'm above 50%. I'm gonna go talk to my artsy fartsy friend about this tonight, and we'll come up with a decision, which he will probably tell me that it's a great idea and that I should put blood all over this thing. So, well, I think he's like the humanity, right? Like he's the human, and humans created AI. They taught AI, and AI are turning into a bad thing, right? Or potentially a bad thing. People are afraid of it being a bad thing. So I think it's a really interesting take on that concept of a robot that's done bad things and the human that has given life and knowledge to the robot. Oh, interesting game delay. I hear the conversation they have. Why did you pull that man into pieces? The robot. The algorithm lacked information about how humans worked, so I had to train myself. I say that with love. I say that with love, baby J. You did a nice job, but I do want to poke fun at the. Hey, you can poke fun at my miniatures any day of the week. I'm totally game. I think it would be really cool to do that, to do the blood and stuff and make it really kind of creepy. I think there's a cool bit of opportunity here too, of having like a bloody handprint on the edge of the stone, where like the robots like put its hand before it put its hand on the ground, right? Something like that would be really interesting. And then just literally having like the hands be really bloody and the knees, and then just having this pool that kind of comes out like this, right? And starts dripping into the sand would be really interesting. I'd have to do some tests potentially on how I would do it. It would be a very different take on the story of the model. But I like it. You're totally game? I'm only 50% game. Feels like you're one-upping me. The model looks almost as good as your beard. Thank you, Nicholas. The other really interesting thing is like that blood would have really interesting play with the warmth in the skin. I like this idea. I like this idea. This is interesting. This is very interesting, chat. This would be my ultimate apology to you guys for not making this all bloody. It would be my ultimate apology. Execution block. My meme is so close to becoming real, and I don't know what to think. I know, paint liquor. You're saying it's funny that you're memeing pretty hard, and it became potentially a good idea. It's pretty interesting. I think I'm gonna do it. I gotta figure out how to. I have to think about it. Oh, Grizz Christofferson, that's a great idea. Paint Prometheus like he's blind so he doesn't see the blood on the robot. Oh, that's so good. That plays into the concept that humans are blind about the things that we're creating. Oh. Oh, Grizz. Oh, that's so good. Oh, man. That is a great idea. Okay. I think we're doing it, chat. I think we're doing it. Now I have to do it. I don't know what y'all are creating. I'm just making dinner and I can't see it clearly. It is the will of chat. I just had an overload of meaningful imagery. Yeah, for real. Like, I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. I'm getting all existential with my imagery when it comes to this piece. My art friends would be proud. But it seems so highbrow of me to do. I just like painting cool looking stuff. Hmm. Man, and it's even better that the humans got shackles. Oh man. Oh, it's too good. It's a too good of an opportunity. Oh gosh. Oh. Quick, sleep on it. Even Paint Licker's like, yo, it's a meme. Hang on. Sleep on it before you make a change like that. Tech up. Quick chat, Baby J's alone. Let's convince him now. You were put on this planet to paint this. Chris Christopherson. Oh man. It's funny because I've never like considered myself an artist in that sort of way, right? I always think a lot of that stuff is really cheeky and silly. But I mean, the model just kind of screams it to me right now. Ugh. All right, chat. Jen's back.
I'm back.
You know what that means.
It means I'm gonna give you some links.
It's time for Jen to place some links very gently into chat. No throwing up at all. None of that.
Nope.
Jen's going to go ahead and give us the store link where you can find all the wonderful products and tools that we've been using here on stream, including this wonderful model. You can get Prometheus on the website right now. You can also click on the FLGS link, which will help you find local stores near you, where you can also find ProAcryl. Make sure you guys join the Discord as well. You get the earliest access to all the new news and information, as well as thousands of other hobby nerds out there who you can talk to hobby stuff about. It's a great place to hang out, share pictures of your miniatures and all that stuff. And then the YouTube, make sure you check out the YouTube, drop us a follow, subscribe. The more subscribers we get on YouTube, the more awesome stuff we get to put on there. It's a great place to find the stream. We stream on YouTube every day. You can find all of the old streams. You can find all of our tutorial content through the shorts and through the longer form videos. It's a great place to find cool stuff to learn. And then make sure you join us every day, Monday through Friday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we'll be back tomorrow with Jason, I believe, and Jen, and myself for another great, wonderful stream. Yeah. We're going to find somebody to raid and take you guys with some more hobby goodness for the rest of the evening.
Thank you guys.
And thank you for being here.
For being here for the stream.
This was a great Therapy Thursday.
It was a good Therapy Thursday.
You guys have a wonderful evening.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.